Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records. And the day is finally here where we're going to rank the albums of Return to Forever. This has been a tough one. And really, we'll talk about what makes this tough. It really comes down to four albums that are just really kind of interchangeable. Three of them certainly are interchangeable, could be ones. What is Return to Forever? Return to Forever is a jazz fusion group formed in 1972, in early 72, and really by their last recording is in 77, and by 1978 the band disbands. They have a brief reunion in 83. They do a 2008 reunion with Chick Corea, Stanley Clarke, Lenny White on drums, Al Di Meola on guitar, which is kind of considered the definitive classic lineup. And then in 09, they do another tour, replacing Di Meola with Frank Gambale and adding Jean-Luc Ponty to the mix. This is just, this is amazing. So let's talk a little bit about Chick Corea. Chick Corea is born in Massachusetts. Chick Corea unfortunately passed away a couple years ago. I believe he was born in 1940 or 41. Grew up by the early 60s. He's playing with people like Blue Mitchell, playing with Stan Getz. In 1968, his friend Tony Williams, drummer for Miles Davis Quintet, gives him a call, says, Miles is going to call you. Herbie Hancock has food poisoning on his honeymoon. We need to fill in. Miles calls him the next day. I need you to be in Baltimore in a couple of days. Hey, Miles, is there going to be a rehearsal? No, just play what you hear, is what Miles tells Chick. Chick shows up. Band, Ron Carter, Tony Williams, Wayne Shorter, Miles Davis. They do the gig. Certainly by now, he's on the radar. And later that year, and certainly in the 69, he starts playing with Miles in a quintet featuring Dave Holland, Jack DeJohnette, Wayne Shorter, Miles, and Chick Corea. Plays on the corner, plays on at the Isle of Wight, and plays on In a Silent Way, and some other great albums by Miles. What Miles has now taught Chick and a number of the guys that play with Miles, like John McLaughlin, like Wayne Shorter, like Joe Zawinul. Miles' girlfriend, Betty Davis, was much younger than him. Miles was starting to dress younger. Betty Davis is into rock and roll and funk. Miles wants to get more into electric music. Miles starts miking his instrument. Bass, guitar players are added. Electric pianos are added. And really, Miles invents jazz fusion. It can be argued that others did. Tony Williams' lifetime, but that's a whole nother story. Long story short, by 1972, Miles forms Return to Forever, and we're going to rank these albums. There's 7 records. There's kind of 3 styles, if you will, and we'll talk a little bit about that. My least favorite, we're going to go from least favorite to favorite, is their final record, Music Magic, from 1977. Okay, so the classic lineup is over. Lenny White's left the band. Al Di Meola's left the band. Stanley Clarke, famous bass player, is still left in the band. Joe Farrell rejoins the band, who's on the first 2 albums. And unfortunately, so Farrell comes back. Chick Corea's wife, Gail Moran, who was also in Mahavishnu Orchestra on the Apocalypse Now and the Emerald Beyond albums. She sings on this record. There's vocals on this record. Now, the first 2 records have Flora Purim singing on them. It doesn't work here for me. The first song, The Musician, is a great track composed by Chick Corea. But it's kind of easy listening pop, smooth jazz. Hello Again is written by Stanley Clarke. It's a duet with Gail Moran. They've sing together, and frankly, it's not good. I don't need Stanley. Stanley Clarke's one of the greatest bass players of all time. I don't need to hear him sing. I don't need to hear Gail sing. And together, along with this smoother jazz concept, doesn't work for me. Music, magic, Chick Corea, Gail Moran doing the vocals and lyrics. Boy, it doesn't work for me. So Long, Mickey Mouse is a Clarke tune. Oof. Uninspired composition by Clarke, who's a genius. In 1974, Downbeat magazine created an electric bass category just off the strength of Stanley Clarke's playing. That's how important he is to the history of jazz. Born in Philadelphia, it doesn't work for me. Do you ever, another Moran song, soft ballad with pop. I don't like it. The Endless Night, a bit better. The last song, Chick Corea, Gail Moran again. No bueno for me on this one. My next album, and now we're talking about the 6 albums that really are great. And this is a classic album. That's how good this discography is. The debut, Return to Forever, okay? Stanley Clarke, Chick Corea, of course, Flora Purim, Brazilian singer, her husband, Arto Moreira, and Joe Farrell on flute and saxophone. This came out in September of 72. It's a 46-minute album. ECM record label. Manfred Eicher produces it. Return to Forever. They're just locked in here with Farrell and Arto. For the flute by Farrell. Spooky vocals by Purim. I like her singing on these records. It's kind of sexy and spooky in a way. Trancy. It's a masterpiece. Crystal Silence, Serene, Fender Rhodes playing is so chill that next year Gary Burton and Chick would do an album called Crystal Silence that I highly recommend. Check that out. What Game Shall We Play? Another Flora singing. It's I'm not a big jazz singer guy in my fusion especially, but it works here. I really like that. Neville Potter writes the lyrics for that song. Flip the album over. Some time ago, La Fiesta, 23-minute. Clarke shows why he's one of the greats of all time here. By the way, here's the back of it. Look at Chick there. A young Chick from about 72, the year that I was born. What a masterpiece that song is. It's kind of broken up into 3 parts. The second part is sung by Purim and Arto, and Farrell is just amazing. And then the last part, La Fiesta, is full flight, first incarnation. So this is the first incarnation. My next album, my my 5th favorite album is their second album, Light as a Feather. So the first album is really a Chick Corea album called Return to Forever. The second album, Chick says, we're going to call ourselves Return to Forever with Chick Corea. So now he's naming the band. And again, Mahavishnu Orchestra's taken off. Weather Report's taking off. Herbie Hancock's in the process of putting the Headhunters together. So it's stylish to have a fusion band. Light as a Feather is now they're on Polydor label. This comes out January of 73. It's 42 minutes. You're Everything. Again, Neville Porter and Chick Corea. Neville Porter writing the lyrics. Loungy jazz. Loungy vocal jazz. Gives way to a swing. And fantastic. The vocals work for me. It's tight in time. Rhythm section. Swingy. Latin feel. The next song, Light as a Feather. Flora Purim and Chick Corea composition. Really, Flora Purim, again, Brazilian singer. Really her signature song. Charming, light, oozes with virtuosity. Chick's bouncing around again on the Fender Rhodes. Farrell's erupting at the 6-minute mark. It's heavy, and then it chills, and then it's Light as a Feather. Just gorgeous. Captain Marvel is the next song. Just furious workout. Korea on full display. Boogie, Latin bounce. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at Chick there. Look at that guy. Chick Corea's I was talking to my brother. He's in my top 3 of all-time favorite musicians with Eddie Van Halen and Jerry Garcia. Chick Corea is a genius and one of my favorite. I was lucky enough to see, well, I saw Return to Forever a couple times. The next song, 500 Miles High, is another Chick Corea, Neville Porter song. Porter does the lyrics, and Flora Purim sings them beautifully. This is a long, sexy, alluring, another signature song by Flora Purim, just beautiful, 9-minute masterpiece. And then Children's Song is next, 2 minutes and 42 seconds, light piano, acoustic piano over Ierto's percussion. Ierto plays percussion and kit on these albums, and again, he is the husband of Flora Purim. And then one of the signature songs of Chick Corea is Clear Spain. Okay, Joaquin Rodrigo and Chick Corea. Just a great way to end a classic album. Samba rhythm, time signature changes, flourishes of improvisation, Korea standard, tight and loose at the same time. Very accessible jazz fusion album. If you're new into jazz fusion, Light as a Feather is a good starting point, and that's number 5 for me. And now we're into my top 4. These can be interchangeable, but I think that really this is my 4th favorite Return to Forever album. Okay, Flora Purim's now gone. Ierto's now gone. So you still have, and Farrell's gone. We've added now Lenny White on drums, Chick Corea, Stanley Clarke. Now this is, well, excuse me. This is their 4th album. Okay, so this is the second album, or this is their 5th album. The second album with Al Di Meola. Okay. This is an awesome, awesome record. And I had this lower at one point, no mystery. This comes out in February of 75. Polydor Records again, their 5th record, Day Ride. Maybe a little bit too polished. Getting a little bit cute here. Solid composition, though, by Stanley Clarke. Maybe a bit redundant. I don't know. But then you got Jungle Waterfall, Korea Clarke song, kind of King Crimson-y even, loungy. Main riff's a little hokey. Maybe that brings this album down a little bit. Again, what's going on during this time in 75? Al Di Meola is putting out his debut, Land of the Midnight Sun, which is unbelievable. Chick Corea is putting out Leprechaun and My Spanish Heart. So while this band's going on, Stanley Clarke's doing Journey to Love and School Days. And Lenny White's putting out Venusian Summer, which my buddy Dorian has, and I need to get back. Love you, Dorian. Great drummer, by the way, Dorian. Dorian could have been in Return to Forever. Flight of the Newborn, though, is an Al Di Meola song. Really picks up the pace here. Just a funky, whole package Return to Forever here. Excerpts from the first movement of heavy metal, classical runs into edgy, progressive rock. Really reminds me of Mahu Vishnu Orchestra here. Interplays the next song, a Clarke Corea song. Just a kind of a nice segue piece, and then you get into the gorgeous, and really saves this record, Celebration Suite Part 1 and 2. Just Chick Corea's composition skills. I mean, of all these guys, you're in a band with Lenny White, Stanley Clarke, Al Di Meola, and Chick Corea. Chick Corea is the best composer of these guys. Coming in at number 3, and again, now we're really in an interchangeable world. And this may surprise some people, but Romantic Warrior. Romantic Warrior comes out in 1976. This is the 3rd of the 3 Al Di Meola, Lenny White, Stanley Clarke albums with Chick Corea. This thing's amazing. Now we're on Columbia Records. Chick Corea produces it. Medieval Overture. Wonderful Chick Corea composition. Drumming's world class by White. It's a Moog heavy synthesizer song. Sorceress is next. Lenny White song, funky. A little bit of everything on this song. Lenny White's an amazing composer and drummer. Again, check out Venusian Summer. Romantic Warrior's Neck, Chick Corea, 11-minute song. Some acoustic flamenco style at the beginning by Al Di Meola. Some bass solo at the 4-minute mark by Clark is unbelievable. Lightning fast runs. You know, they're doing these like where they're all syncopatedly playing at the same time, and it's almost gets into progressive rock for sure on this record. Just incredible. Flip the album over. Majestic Dance, Al Di Meola song again. Progressive rock. Reminds me of what Jeff Beck is doing around 1976 on Blow by Blow and Wired. Math rock territory. Math rock is a kind of a form of progressive rock where it's just you're really getting into syncopation. The Magician, Stanley Clark song. Fast, blazing runs in unison. Whimsical. Clearly, I think that Chick Corea helps with the composition here. I shouldn't say that because Stanley Clark's an incredible composer, but I hear so much Chick Corea in this song that he's got to have some input. But he's also cool enough to let Stanley have his own comp on the song. So, and then the last song, The Duel, The Jester, and The Tyrant. Again, Chick Corea is coming up with a composition that just ties this whole thing together. Furious Les Paul playing. Les Paul into a Marshall sound by Al Di Meola on a jazz record. And really, this is almost a progressive rock album, isn't it? This proves why they're so damn good. This is the last album of the Core Four. Chick's playing the ARP Odyssey keyboard at this point too. That with that quirky sound with a tone bar, just incredible. My second favorite Return to Forever album, and it's freaking amazing, is the debut album of the Lenny White, Chick Corea, Stanley Clark, Al Di Meola album. I really fought back with Romantic Warrior being here instead of this, but this has Falcon Worlds on it. Opens up with Falcon Worlds. This came out in September of 74. It's a 41-minute record. It's their fourth record. Falcon Worlds is, you're welcoming, you know, Al Di Meola in the mix. More progressive rock here. Clark composition, fast as fingers in jazz. Again, in 1974, Downbeat magazine puts out a category for electric bass, primarily based on the strength of his playing. Incredible. Where Have I Known You Before? A little just bridge piece, 1-minute acoustic piece, but then you go into The Shadows of Low, which is a Lenny White song. Laid Back, then goes into rolling and frantic and funkiness and several shifts of moods here. Where Have I Danced With You Before? Another 1-minute bridge piece, 1 minute and 13 seconds before you get into Beyond the Seventh Galaxy. Just great drumming on Beyond the Seventh Galaxy. Great drumming Beyond the Seventh Galaxy by Lenny White. Strong track. Flip the album over. Earth Juice. You know, again, progressive rock here. Maybe a little bit less interesting and redundant, but a cool song. It keeps the energy. Where Have I Known You Before is another little bridge piece of 2 minutes and 17 seconds, but it's gorgeous. But in my opinion, the greatest song that Return to Forever ever did is Songs to the Pharaoh Kings, one of the best songs in jazz fusion history. And we'll do a jazz fusion show. By the way, subscribe to my channel. We do shows every single day. Hit like on these if you like these videos. Songs of the Pharaoh Kings just has all the elements. Al Di Meola is 19 years old here. He went to Berklee College of Music. He had a buddy named Mike who did a recording, like a bootleg recording of Al playing in a club with Buddy Miles Band. He had been slipped acid that night. After that show, or after Al Di Meola went and saw Return to Forever with Earl Klugh in 1974 on guitar, a short period where Earl Klugh was in the band. He was never recorded. Al came back and told his buddy Mike, I would love to play in Return to Forever. So what does Mike do? And Al says that Mike always was high, kind of a Woodstocky type guy. He went and sought out management of Chick Corea and gave him the tape of Al Di Meola playing on acid. And Chick Corea calls and says, listen, I want you to play with the band. We're going to do a couple rehearsals, and on Tuesday night, we're going to play at Carnegie Hall. When Al told his parents that, they said, get out of here. You're crazy. You're not playing no Carnegie Hall. Well, the limo picked them all up, and they went to Carnegie Hall. This is my second favorite album. This is Where Have I Known You Before? It's fantastic. The first album with Al Di Meola. My favorite Return to Forever album is Him in the Seventh Galaxy. This came out in October of 73. Bill Connors is on guitar here. Bill Connors from California, kind of did the jazz scene in the San Francisco area. This comes out October of 73, Polydor Records. Okay. Second album on Polydor Records. Third Return to Forever album. So this marks a new shift. Again, Mahavishnu Orchestra is taking off. By the way, watch my ranking of the albums of Mahavishnu Orchestra. I'll put a link in the description below of those rankings. So this is a shift from the debut Return to Forever and Light as a Feather, which are more acoustic albums. This is a real fusion album. Bill Connors is like Jimi Hendrix on this record. Again, Lenny White's first album, Bill Connors' only album, Stanley Clarke, and Chick Corea. Lenny White, I guess that's Chick, and that's Bill Connors. Hymn of the Seventh Galaxy, just the band's in full flight. The signature sound of Return to Forever, what they would be for their 4 great albums, is here. After the Cosmic Rain, Stanley Clarke tune. I mean, Connors brings so much here. So much dirt, so much funk. Lenny White's unbelievable on this record. Lenny White's one of the most underappreciated drummers in drumming history, much less jazz. Perfect fit for Clarke as Lenny White. Captain Senior Mouse is a signature Chick Corea standard. It's a cut above. It's just a cut above. The composition skills of Chick Corea is a cut above. And really, for me, it's a cut above Mahavishnu Orchestra, which is just in your face. The compositions here are just incredible. Signature theme and hook. Connor's solo at the 6-minute mark. And then flip the album over. Theme for the Mothership, which is the first song that Chick wrote, thinking that he wants to change the direction of the band when he wrote that song. Just builds and builds and builds. Connor, just guitar hero stuff here. Strong almost 9-minute song. Make It Last Forever, baby. Top notch, favorite song of mine. Space Circus 1 and 2. Love the change of pace, straight piano, straightforward piano, but then it goes into Fender Rhodes Funky Town. The Game Maker, after the mellow beginning, it gets into almost math rock again with the syncopated runs, similar to After the Cosmic Rain with the syncopations. Where you follow, and that sounds stupid when I do that, but like they're running down lines and they're all playing together in time. It's insane. Full mastery of the composition by Chick. I can't believe that the Bill Connors, White, Corea, and Clarke lineup didn't do more. By the way, prior to Lenny White joining, this album had been recorded with Steve Gadd on drums. But when Steve Gadd said, listen, I can't go on tour because I can't give up my session work, they re-recorded this album with Lenny White. Mingo Lewis was also on the original recording. They got rid of him, and Gadd re-recorded it with Lenny White, and the rest is history. That is my ranking. Again, we have Hymn of the Seventh Galaxy, Where Have I Known You Before, Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior, No Mystery, Light as a Feather, Return to Forever, the debut. Again, these two are masterful albums, but they're completely different than the electric stuff. And then my least favorite being Music Magic. I wish this one didn't exist, actually. I hate to say that. Anyway, peace out. Subscribe to my channel. Thanks for letting me do these shows. Thanks for subscribing. We'll talk later.